Blessed Mario Ciceri was born on September 8, 1900, in the small town of Veduggio in the province of Milan in Italy, which at the time had around 1,500 people. His parents, Luigi Ciceri and Colomba Vimercati, raised him in a loving Catholic home, and Mario was the fourth of their 6 children. From his earliest years, Mario was surrounded by the love, faith, and care of his family. In his home of sacrifice and charity, Mario learned what it truly meant to love God by serving others. When Mario was only 80 years old, he told his parish priest that he believed God was calling him to become a priest. His parents joyfully supported God's plan for their son, even though they worried about the many years of study and the cost of his education. Trusting in God's providence, Mario worked diligently in his studies and earned scholarships that allowed him to complete all of his theological education. With the blessing of his devoted parents, Mario entered the seminary while still very young, and at the age of 23, he was ordained a priest for the Archdiocese of Milan. After his ordination, Father Mario was assigned to the small town of Sulbiate, where he would spend his entire priestly life serving the parish of Brentana with unwavering love and dedication. Father Mario's deep faith was strengthened each day through prayer and Eucharistic adoration. Prayer filled his life from the early hours of the morning until late into the evening. He spent countless hours hearing confessions, not only in Brentana, but also in the neighboring villages, bringing God's mercy to all who came to him. He had a profound love for Our Lady and never missed an opportunity to pray the Holy Rosary. Through his prayers, a young woman who had been declared incurable experienced God's grace after being sent to Lourdes. In 1935, Father Mario himself made a pilgrimage to Lourdes, spending entire nights in prayer before the grotto. When he returned to Sulbiate, he built a grotto dedicated to Our Lady, modeled after the one at Lourdes, so that the young people of his parish would always have a special place to pray. Along with his love for the Blessed Virgin Mary, Father Mario had a special devotion to Saint Francis, Saint John Bosco, Saint Cotolengo, and Saint Therese of the Child Jesus. He admired the humility, poverty, generosity, spirit of sacrifice, and love for the poor and those who suffered. He also prayed faithfully for the souls of the departed and often led young people to the cemetery while praying the Holy Rosary together along the way. The parish oratory quickly became one of Father Mario's greatest priorities. Because he believed that young people were the hope of both the church and society, he encouraged children and young people to study, to grow in knowledge, and to use their gifts in the service of God and others. He gladly offered them whatever help they needed, whether through encouragement, teaching, or material support. He listened patiently to their struggles and made sure that none of them ever felt abandoned, especially those who had begun drifting away from the oratory. Another important part of his priestly mission was Catholic action. Father Mario founded the first Catholic Action youth group in Sulbiate and gave himself completely to its growth with generosity, sacrifice, and apostolic zeal. In 1931, the fascist government ordered the closure of all Catholic action groups and demanded that their flags be surrendered. Deeply saddened, Father Mario refused to obey this unjust order. Instead, he handed over an old flag while secretly burying the true Catholic action flag in his garden, preserving it with courage and faith. Father Mario also devoted himself to the sick and their families. He brought them the comfort of the Catholic faith while also helping them buy medicine and food whenever they were in need. When family members could not care for the sick, he personally looked after them himself. Every day, often late into the evening, and in every kind of weather, he traveled to the hospitals in Vimercate, Monza, and Merate to bring spiritual comfort to his parishioners. He also visited prisoners, encouraging them with hope and helping them begin new lives after their release. He searched for work on their behalf and cared for their families during their time in prison, showing them the mercy of Christ. During the terrible years of the Second World War, Father Mario courageously stood beside soldiers, resistance fighters, and refugees from Italy, Poland, England, Russia, and Yugoslavia. He prepared safe hiding places where they could escape the Nazi fascist forces and remain hidden. He organized a network of rescue, providing fugitives with food, clothing, and the documents they needed to escape while avoiding the attention of the authorities. Working together with compassionate medical staff, he also saved the lives of wounded soldiers who had been condemned to execution. After 1943, Father Mario often rode his faithful bicycle through the night, accompanying many fugitives to the Swiss border so they could reach safety. He comforted former prisoners and secretly carried messages to their loved ones. Whenever he could not save someone from execution, he remained beside them until the very end, strengthening them with prayer and refusing to leave them alone in their final moments. Because of his courageous actions, Father Mario's name was placed on a list of priests marked for execution by the fascist authorities in Vimercate. Out of love for the soldiers from his parish, he also created an information bulletin called Friendly Voice, sending it faithfully to those serving on every front. He never rested until he knew what had happened to his beloved parishioners. On one occasion, he even traveled to Calabria to recover the body of a young man who had died under mysterious circumstances, so that he could receive a proper Christian burial in his home parish. On the evening of February the 9th, 1945, while returning by bicycle, where he had been hearing confessions, Father Mario was involved in a tragic accident. Because of the darkness and the snow, a small cart struck him. He was taken to the hospital in Vimercate with several broken ribs and severe injuries to his liver. As news spread, many young people and parishioners gathered at the hospital, ready to donate their blood to save the priest they loved so dearly. During the 2 months that followed, Father Mario became an inspiring witness of patience and trust in God as he endured his suffering. His hospital room was constantly filled with people who came to pray with him and receive his blessing. On the 4th of April 1945, he peacefully offered his life to God for the conversion of sinners and for an end to the war. His funeral was held on 7th April in Sulbiate, where an immense crowd of faithful, together with many priests from neighboring villages, came to bid farewell to a priest who many already believed lived the life of a saint. If the Lord wants my poor life, I will gladly offer it to him, so that the war may end, so that all the soldiers may return, especially ours. I offer it to him for my parishioners, whom I loved so much, and for poor sinners. On the 25th of April, while a memorial service was being celebrated in his honor, the announcement was made that the Second World War had come to an end. Blessed Mario Ciceri, prega por noi.